Hey, good evening, everybody. It is the EriDan Film Festival with your host. bring on Dan. How about that, Dan?
Yeah, there we go.
How are
I
you?
am here. I
almost
just made it in
made
the nick of time.
You did. You made it just like that.
Just like that.
How are you this fine Monday evening?
I'm good. I was supposed to be on an airplane, but I'm not. I'll be flying tomorrow instead. And here I am.
Well, we're glad you could join us.
That's good to be
on
here.
Such a momentous night.
It's a double feature. 202, and we're doing 2 movies. So there you go.
202, 2 movies. It's 8:02. It's May 6th.
Or 5:02.
I guess, depending what coast you're on.
True.
Literally. Hey, this is the EriDan Film Festival where we get together with friends and family to discuss film and festivals. Films and festivals. So this is your chance to join us. And
with some long movies.
These were a couple of long movies here. So, you know, Scott's exhausted some of his movie budget for 2024. This is your
thank God he told us 2 weeks ago.
How do you get a chance to join us, Dan? What if you're like, I want to talk about some movies with those folks?
Oh, it is so easy. You just go to EriDanLive.com.
Whoa, that's so easy. You'd think people would be doing that right now. So please take a moment, hop over there to EriDanLive.com and join the show, be part of us, and be part of the discussion. And maybe get to help choose a movie for a future week. Or maybe get to hear what Dan's movie is going to be.
I do have to pick a movie.
I hope you've picked a movie.
I haven't picked it yet. You have. I mean, I'll pick it later. I picked it. I haven't announced
it yet. Okay. All right.
Yes.
All right. As long as you're somewhat organized.
Speaking of somewhat organized.
I'm sorry, Dave. This conversation can serve no purpose anymore.
I'm not usually called organized.
But you are called somewhat.
Somewhat. I'm called somewhat frequently.
Yeah. It's what comes out to the somewhat.
Somewhat interesting. Somewhat humorous.
Somewhat.
It's a good way to be. It's a good way to be.
Yeah. Speaking of somewhat.
That's Scott? Yes, it's Scott.
There's Scott.
It's Scott. As a baby. He'll grow. Bring Scott back.
What? I see this as an absolute win.
I feel so attacked. Excuse me.
Excuse you.
Why are you attacked?
I'm somewhat?
You're
somewhat.
I'm not even someone?
No, you're somewhat.
Somewhat.
You're some wit.
Oh.
You got some wit. There you go.
Oh, gosh, I got to remove it.
A nitwit. No. A nit what? Not what?
I'm so glad everyone's ecstatic about the length of these movies.
I like the movies, but the length was a bit much for a double feature.
I didn't say watch them back to back. I just said they're both long, so I'm telling you guys 2 weeks in advance. Because
but we still only had 1 week because last week we were watching somebody else's movie.
But we've known about it for 2 weeks. We could have done a movie and a half last week and a movie and a half this week.
I'm not going to shortchange someone else's week by working ahead.
Well, I've watched many movies in the past week to try to figure out what my movie's going to be. So we'll talk about that later.
Dan's doing heavy research.
I like how he looks like in his studio.
It looks like I'm in my studio, but I'm at my house.
But on the other hand, Scott, I'm not going to criticize you because you picked 2 very good movies.
Oh, thank you. I know Eric slept through both of them, but we'll get to that.
So what?
Get your sleepy face on.
I'm waking up. It's okay.
Okay, so always. It wasn't the films. Okay,
that is a reflection of his life, not your movies.
Okay, fair enough.
It is true. That is true.
Adam says the movies lose points for being long. Ha ha, kidding. Oh, okay. So they didn't lose points for being long.
Well,
they might lose points, but not for being long.
Well, I guess we should discuss what movies we're going to discuss, and which movie do you want to start with, Scott?
Well, I guess we should just do this in order. Get the fancy one out of the way so we can add a Badass Snow, which means, of course, we're starting with Mad Max.
We will then race to the other movie.
Exactly.
with war boys on our trail.
That's right.
Dan will play the guitar.
There's a fake one right there.
All the movie needed was soundtrack by AC/DC. Perfect movie.
Yeah, but if the guy
Both of
hanging
them.
from the hanging from the speakers had been wearing an Australian schoolboy's uniform, it would have lost some impact.
Yeah, maybe not. That might have been.
Yeah, the short pants.
All right, are we going? Which one?
Mad Max Fury Road.
All right, Mad Max Fury Road. Here we go. The future belongs to the mad. From 2015, rated R. Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron. And Dan, gonna be excited. Written and directed George Miller, along with some other folks. Dan loves are written and directed by. Budget of $150 million. Worldwide gross $380 million. Critics at a 97 and the audience at an 86.
And the prequel is coming out this summer.
That's right. Furiosa.
A Mad Max saga. Because they have to call it something because he's not in it.
That's right.
By the way, that guitar weighed 132 pounds and shot real gas-powered flames.
But it wasn't
He
for the
controlled,
tables.
he controlled using the whammy bar. If you remember Hawkins Music Store,
They had whammy bars on all their guitars.
All right.
their ads they used to run. In New
First
Brighton.
question of the night, guys. Nipples of Venus or whammy bar? Which one's more dirty?
I always go for a whammy bar when possible.
Really?
Oh no, wait, that was a dilly bar. I was thinking of Dairy Queen getting a dilly bar.
Hey.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought there had been more nudity in Amadeus, at least in the director's cut.
Which we were encouraged to watch.
You know, one
Not for
odd
that
thought
reason.
that struck me was the wives that or his breeders that were getting away were their outfits reminded me a little bit of the siren scene from "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?"
Go to sleepy little baby. Well, the reason I picked this movie, I think it's one of the more exciting films to have come out in the last 10 years that also tries to like go for a very honestly traditional style of film storytelling. I kind of felt like at times you were watching an Indiana Jones movie where they kept the timing. You weren't always jumping around trying to make you feel like you were actually there. There were times when they actually are like, look at our beautiful cars. Look at our amazing sets. Look at our beautiful women. Like just taking its time and still being a really exciting, thrilling action movie. Nowadays, I feel like, we're kind of stuck in a rut where every action movie has to feel like you're sitting in the seat with the person. They aren't shot from wide angles. They're shot probably from like a 35 or a 50. They're really tight. And this one just had glory. It was like a David Lean trying to make an action movie. Cool.
Mad Max of Arabia.
Yes. Dr. Zhivago.
I think a lot of the vehicles in this could have been replaced with Tesla Cybertrucks.
Yes.
If they were being filmed
Or-
today, they probably would.
Or
that
Tesla
would be
should actually
amazing.
look at some of the designs in this and use that for your.
And then there's
Cybertruck.
there's the 20-minute intermission where they're all at the supercharger.
Yeah, exactly.
Eric, do you know
Play
if there are
some
any
elevator
toys
music.
for this?
If there are toys,
Toys for this movie? Does
it's a movie that begs to have a toy line,
Right?
Oh
but
yeah.
I don't know if they do. That's a great question.
Because
and then
Temple-
next movie you'll get your Solieri action figure.
This one rings the bell.
There is, hold on, wait. I didn't find this.
I always like George Miller's style. He's also an interesting director because he's not a Michael Bay or even he puts on a movie about every 5 years. He doesn't overload himself. He's very careful with what projects he does.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, technically, we can call this movie Babe 3 because it has Charlize Theron and a pig.
There you go.
Oh, there we've got Max with the face thing on.
Oh my gosh.
And if you've been watching Arrested Development,
This is
she's
pretty
Mr.
good,
F.
actually. For $9.95, look at that. For just one of those.
That's amazing.
Rebecca, who hasn't been on in a while, says, when I watched Mad Max Fury Road for the first time, I was so surprised at how much I loved a high-octane film. I was captivated the whole way through.
Yeah.
I do have to say, I do still think Mad Max 2 is the best of the 4 Mad Max movies. But I can see why there's people who like this one better. One is very low budget, very sort of grittier and very almost urban, and sort of feels very different. And 3 is 2 weird half movies grafted together in a way that doesn't really work.
Right.
But 1 and 4 are really entertaining. And there's a lot of commonality between 1 and 4 too, because 3 is not a chase movie. 2 and 4 are both very much chase movies. I mean, the pursuit of the tractor trailers, which happens in both movies, is the movie. I mean, it's handled in similar but different ways. The only thing I really thought was a bit of a letdown in this one was it changed Max's character quite a bit.
Well, first of all, he's not Mel Gibson.
Yeah, he was more like Furiosa, really, in the first 3 movies. He was damaged. She had her missing arm. He had his bad leg.
Amazing.
Oh man! And he was not an action star. He's not fighting off hordes of war boys or crawling across the trop of a fast-moving truck. He's a driver. That's what he does, and a survivor. And that's really who Furiosa was in this movie. They sort of gave Furiosa Mad Max's role and relegated him to a somewhat different role, which felt a little odd. It still worked. It just felt a little weird.
Yeah, it's the private equity firm saying we want to have more female-centered movies so we get more female money. But you know what? The story works.
The story works, and Charlize Theron was excellent.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I cannot believe that woman is in her 40s in that movie. Just incredible.
And her armor moves just for the part.
She's disappointed that she really was too old to play herself in the prequel, but she strongly endorsed Anya Taylor-Joy. She said she's amazing.
Oh yeah, it's Anya Taylor-Joy. I love her so much.
Rules the world right now.
Totally. I've heard a lot of people say this is also a Roadrunner movie.
Well, they painted tunnel on the cliffside was the giveaway.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly,
when they held up the sign and it said beep beep.
There were several moments that kind of reminded me of like, oh, I'm seeing a Matrix car chase. I'm seeing an Indiana Jones truck chase. Just little scenes in movies that came up in my head. And what they did to make it stand out, because those films laid the foundation for those kinds of car chases. They really embraced the stunts, and they also embraced what effects they chose to use at what time. There are obviously special effects in this film, but there are also times where they try to make things with just compositing, just old school 80s, 90s compositing.
That's George Miller. He loves that.
Yeah, and it gave it like a very old school flavor, which I really enjoyed.
And everything I've read too said that Miller, Chris Hemsworth, who is in the prequel that's coming up, had such effusive praise for working with George Miller. He said he has some very grueling shoots, but he is so prepared. He said every shot he knows exactly what he wants, and he has it completely. He has spent months thinking about every shot and how he wants it to look and how he's going to film it and where the cameras are going to be. He said those shoots, grueling as they are, go so efficiently that it's really amazing.
Yeah, well, he's also Australian, so that probably has something to do with it.
There you go.
But no, George Miller's probably one of the most over-prepared directors ever, and it's why his movies will continue to be timeless, because he doesn't rush things. He takes his time. He thinks things out. He doesn't try to do things on the fly. You can do that in film. You can't do it when you're trying to create an amazing set piece. Rough action works, but so does beautiful choreography. That's why wrestling is still a thing.
Is that still fake or is it real now?
There are elements that are definitely scripted. Yeah.
Yeah, I also, to go back to the Roadrunner, I did notice a lot of the product placement for Acme products. So that was obvious.
How they worked anvils so many times into it was really surprising.
Acme Chrome. And actually,
the other thing was slightly weird about Max's character was the weird little softening he had when he was giving her his blood. That was fine. Him giving her blood was fine. That he sort of then told her his name and was sort of like, you almost got the feeling like he had developed an affection for her. That is fine, I guess, but it didn't feel like it was completely keeping with Max's character. If you see him in the first few movies, he is so closed off. You know, even with the little feral boy, he is so unwilling to open himself up to being hurt anymore. So for him to do that felt a little odd.
Well, right. It's usually in those kinds of relationships, it's formed from mutual respect, and you don't expect there to be an almost romantic connection. And I wonder if it's kind of more combined with such the emotional edge of the story that kind of makes it feel like there's much more of a romantic push between the two, or if it's more just because it's a guy and a girl in a Survivor movie. They got to repopulate somehow.
Always got that repopulation happening.
Yes. I guess that's
but
the bad guys.
This is my second time seeing it. I had seen it once, probably about 5 years ago. I didn't see it when it first came out. I waited a few years, but I did see it about 5 years ago and really enjoyed it. And it actually held up extremely well on repeat viewing.
Yeah.
It actually even improved for me on repeat viewing. You know?
Mad Max was neither mad nor Max in this movie, apparently, according to Adam.
Discuss.
Well.
Post-apocalyptic world building. Why the Earth is dying and why humans are disease-ridden. Because we are. And it is.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a breath of fresh air to be like, oh, the trees just started dying by themselves. It wasn't them. I like this thing quite a bit. Yeah, it was kind of really interesting how they just chose like the 2/3 mark to say, oh, we got to have the environmental message now. We had a bunch of bad shit, badass stuff, diesel punk, fumes, explosions all over.
But they still didn't hit you over the head with it.
Right.
No.
I found that last scene you just showed very blue.
Did it make you blue?
No, it's just the scene itself is very blue.
But no, I found this movie, as I said, I watched it before, and I don't know if I was just in it is a movie you really need to pay attention to. It's an action movie.
It's a ride.
It is a movie that requires your attention in order to truly appreciate what's happening on screen.
It was an Oscar darling.
Not as much as the next movie.
Wow. We'll get there.
Oh, yeah. Costumes. No, I just want to see these people in a room together just once.
To Adam's point about sort of Mad Max taking a back seat and how he would have almost rather seen a Furiosa movie, that's what we're getting in the prequel.
There it is. And don't worry, Adam. Max is going to be the main star of the Furiosa movie. Just watch.
There'd be a twist.
Well, the scene in the middle where she opens the little locket and looks at the picture of him in size, that's...
Chris Hemsworth gets stabbed in the back by Tom Hardy at the beginning of the movie. This is my movie.
I do love Chris Hemsworth playing a bad guy. That's going to be fun.
It is going to be good. I honestly wonder if Tom Hardy's Bane was partly inspired by this character too.
Well, Bane was in the comic books first, obviously, but
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was talking about that. Like he saw this Bulgarian philosopher, and he showed it to Christopher Nolan. He's like, okay, we can go for maybe like a Darth Vader thing. Just like with this kind of funky voice rather than just like, a deadpan killing machine, or, we could do it your way. It's entirely up to you. It's like, oh no, we'll do it your way. That sounds great. Okay.
Adam doesn't want to see the Furiosa movie.
Why not? Because it stars the chick from Queen's Gambit?
Maybe.
And the Mario movie.
And that is true.
That's true.
She's a peach.
She's an excellent peach.
Speaking of excellent peaches, it's 21 after.
All right. Are we going to jump to this one?
We should jump and get a score. We've got two of them.
I mean, what other better action movies have there been in the 2010s? Right? Like maybe some more films by Mel Gibson. But no, John Wick. Okay.
Fast and Furious.
That doesn't count.
Fast and Furiosa.
Fast and Furious 5, 12, 23.
See, they did it on purpose, guys. This is actually a prequel to the X series and
It is.
Fast and Furious series. Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful to watch. The performances are very emotional and engaging. It doesn't feel like you're watching a film that takes place in the modern world. It feels disconnected. The performances are everyone's kind of always in their own head. Everything looks familiar, but looks terrifying and rugged and like it could attack you at any second. Like you're on high alert watching the movie. And then just finds these moments to just slow down and be beautiful and have some really stunning visuals. I mean, it can't get much better than this in the 2010s. You know, John Wick is up there. This movie's up there. I probably would have get this one in 93.
93. John Wick's way better than this is, Adam.
Oh.
Well, then you should put it up next time.
There you go. I wouldn't mind.
I wouldn't either.
Bring your dog. I really.
Oh, too soon.
I do really enjoy this movie. I don't think it, like I said, it doesn't hold up to me quite as high as Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, whichever you want to call it. When I saw that movie in theaters when it came out, I was blown away by it. I did not know what I was getting myself in for. And it is just a ride from beginning to end. And to the credit to this movie, it recreates that sort of ride from beginning to end feel, where you have a sort of a half an hour or so to sort of set it up. And then the rest of the movie is just the ride through the desert. And how you can make an hour and a half ride through the desert as entertaining as George Miller does is quite a credit to him. It really is.
Yeah.
I didn't like it quite as much as Scott did, but that's fine. I still really enjoyed it. Glad to have a chance to watch it again, and I give it just shy of a 90. It's an 89.
All right. I guess you got to come to me already. We've got some in the comments. Rebecca says, I will rate this action movie quite high, which for me is shocking. 98.
Wow.
Wow.
Brian reached out and said he may be a little late. He's trying. The link is not working. Help, said Scott.
I mean,
The link never works for you, Scott?
yeah, it does.
You just have to go incognito mode if it won't work. But
I got
Brian is going to give it an 84.
84 from Brian.
Yeah, I liked it. I had not seen it before. I had seen the original, years and years and years ago. But, will I watch it a million times more? Probably not. But is it a bad movie? No. So I think I'm right around an 88 on this one.
88.
I was going to shave my head and cover myself with talcum, but I didn't. It seemed like a
You
lot.
Did. I went all out. Honestly, it is one of those movies I don't know how often I'll watch again, but it is a beautiful movie and it's completely well done. I was going to give it an 85, and then I realized I gave The Atom Project an 85.
Well, that's your problem right there.
Oh, God.
And I probably will watch The Atom Project again, but I'll give this an 87.
I will say it's a
of
movie, too, that you, even if you're not going to rate it like in the 90s, once you start watching it, you don't look away. You just, it takes you along and pulls you the whole way.
Ooh.
Yeah. Speaking of 87.
Madam Librarian.
Works the library, not actually a library.
Hey.
Included.
Hello.
What's up?
What movie are we
What's up?
talking about? What's
We're
We're talking
up?
about Mad Max.
Okay.
Do you have a score for it?
I
anything you'd
don't
like to
have a
say
score.
about
I
it?
did watch it, but I hadn't even thought about a score. So,
Okay.
We'll just sit here and wait.
All right. So when I checked it out at work, my work study said, that movie is so good cinematically. I'm like, oh, that does not bode well.
You're a real cinema snob.
My God, that movie has a nice personality.
Exactly.
That movie
No,
looks like
it
a
looked
Ken.
good. It didn't have a nice personality. That's how I would look at it. That movie was long and drawn out. And here's me at the end when he goes, "My name's Max." I went, "Oh my God, that makes so much sense."
What?
You didn't realize that was Max?
And he goes, and I'm very mad.
Because Max is not him. Max is
Mel
somebody
Gibson.
else. Yeah, thank you. Couldn't even think of his name, but I could see his face.
He's Mel's kid.
Okay, that makes sense. But anyway, yeah. So it was just a lot of traveling.
It was a road movie.
A lot, yeah. I don't like road movies.
We're off on the road to the green place.
Yeah.
Right.
Those road movies I liked a little bit, but they're old. Anyway, so I think that because it just did not ever end and didn't seem
It is
to
the
have,
film that never.
it had a point, but it wasn't a point I wanted to be at. I don't know. I think that they did a nice job with it. I see why people like it. I do. It's just not my cup of tea. I think I will give it an 80.
Yeah, just not your
An
kind of
80.
movie.
That's fair.
That's fine.
Adam says very matter of factly 65.
It's a speed limit sign from Adam.
Wade has a score, but he's still eating his dinner.
Ah,
Okay.
You can give the score though.
He will.
All right.
He wants to talk about it. Just give. He's on. He's.
I don't want to talk about it.
He's getting a blood
You
infusion.
don't want to
I
talk
don't
about.
really want to talk
Oh
about
my
it.
goodness, it's Wade.
Wow. Let's do that again.
Jesus Christ.
He's a preacher. Why would you say that?
Oh my God.
Have you never seen his opening?
He's usually
Sorry.
on with Stacy these days. You usually get the
Yeah,
combined.
you
opening.
usually get the
You
combine.
doesn't get that all the time. This is a rare treat when they come in separately.
Yeah.
That was like George with Darth Vader in Back to the Future. My God.
Did you never see it before, Scott?
Wait, to quote our next
I've seen
movie.
that once.
Eric, it sounds like your sister Hope.
Eric has a Stacy intro, a Wade intro, a Reagan intro, a Stacy and Wade intro, and a Riders combined intro.
That is correct.
Yep.
And we also have a Brian intro.
Brian.
Hey.
There's the vertical video.
All right.
Yep.
Welcome in. All right. So we still need to hear from Brian and from Wade.
Well, I gave you Brian's score, but we need to hear from him.
That's true.
What did you guys talk about the laugh?
We
No,
didn't get
we
that
haven't
one.
Which movie did you give it? We're doing Mad Max first.
Oh, okay.
So was that score you gave in the comments? Was that for Amadeus?
I didn't realize
Right.
it was two. I have seen that one before, but I like the old Mad Max a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. What am I supposed to say about it?
Nothing. You don't
Well,
have to
nothing.
say
We'll go
anything
back to
about it.
Wade.
Let's hear what Wade had to say about it, though.
All right.
So yeah, well,
No planes.
it was very interesting. I liked it. I kind of thought it was pretty funny. The guitar player out in front of the speakers.
That's true.
drive along.
That was.
And it, some of the cinematography, I could see how it got, the Oscars for cinematography and special effects, things like that.
Yeah.
And the guys are on the big long poles going back and forth. That'd be kind of.
They're polecats.
That would be pretty fun to do, actually. I think that'd be.
Don't
fun
forget
to
the
spot.
drums.
Yeah, the drums too behind it. But yeah, it just kind of seemed like, well, it went back and forth, I guess you could say. They left and then they came back. But it was along the Mad Max. If you went along with the Mad Maxes, I don't think it was like the best one. And my score I was thinking was a 75.
75.
It is. I think it's the best looking of the Mad Max movies, but I do like 2 better.
That's why I got an 80 from me.
Yeah, but
I
like the older ones were kind of rougher looking, which kind of fit with the Mad Max kind of mode,
All right. So, Brian, have you seen it recently enough to give this one a score, or do you want to pass on your score?
Not recent enough. I just remember when I watched it, I was like, I'm going to go watch the other 3 because I like them better. That's
well, then it's a good movie because it forced you to watch 3 more movies. I mean, that's like a viral movie.
Yeah, but that means it also forced you to watch.
Disney would love you, Dan.
It means it also forced you to watch the scenes with the storyteller talking to all the little kids in Max Beyond Thunderdome, which is painful.
Oh man,
Were they ever make 300 a Mad Max movie?
It was really fun still. I still enjoy it.
Mad Max 3. It's just such a weird mashup of 2 different.
Yeah.
It really is like they had 2 different scripts, and neither one was long enough, so they just decided to stitch them together at the middle.
Yeah.
Well, Mad Max coming in with an 84.38, not able to beat out Cruella or Air.
Are you guys serious? Who likes Cruella this much?
I liked it.
I didn't finish watching Cruella.
How are these Disney remakes so high?
Terrible. All right,
Cruella's not a remake.
Yeah, it is.
No, it isn't.
It's done in the vein of we're trying to make cash off of a Disney movie.
Well, that's not. That's not a remake. That's an origin story.
In that way, Mad Max is a remake then.
Right.
Yeah.
Mad Max 4.
That's a sequel.
Yeah.
Cruella's a sequel.
Cruella is a prequel.
It is a prequel.
It's a prequel, yeah.
All right, let's do this. Here we go. Murray Abraham, Amadeus, 1984. Director's cut was rated R for those of you who are interested. Starring Tom Holson, F. Murray Abraham, Martin Calvani, and I'm not going to pretend to pronounce the rest. Budget of $18 million, worldwide gross of 52 gross. A worldwide gross of $52 million. The audience at an 89. Nope. Critics at an 89. Audience at a 95. I'm not doing so well with the reading today. So, why Amadeus? Besides the laugh.
Adam first says, I hate Cruella. Can't blame me, Scott. You gave it a 52.
Oh,
Adam.
Man.
You gave it 52 cats?
52 times better than cats.
Jesus. Well, first of all, I love how in the credits, Eric, you gave young Mozart as third billing, even though he appears in the movie for like 2 minutes.
It's what
Wikipedia listed.
Say.
Oh, Wikipedia listed. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, how could you not say this is a good movie? Even Adam said, I actually like this movie. It's just one of those films where you're just like, you know what? This is about as perfect as a movie can get. No, it's not historically accurate, but it does its job so well that you can't help but admire the fantasia that the director said they were going for. Just a marriage between this rumor about Mozart's death into this story about somebody who is looking for the adoration of God and is so angry about it that he has no choice but to do his own Cain and Abel story. Like, it is just, I saw this movie when I was 11, and it's one of the few movies that I just have sitting ready at my TV. It's a date movie. It's just it's an amazing, great film, and I don't want to keep talking about it because we're going to be talking about it for the next 20 minutes, or I will. So let's just do it. It's just that good.
I really wish that the non-director's cut had been available to stream, though. I really don't think it needed the extra 20 minutes.
I think that the reason why he kept that in there was when the film was released, they were trying to take the risk they didn't want to take the risk of having like this costume drama that no one knew how well it was going to do.
I understand
spreading
why.
that out.
Yeah.
I don't.
It doesn't add too much. Like, what do you get? You get the scene of him working with the student and the dogs, which, is supposed to be like a contrast payoff later, just to show how far he's fallen. We don't really need that. That's probably true.
It's not that I think the scenes that were added were bad in any way. It's that a 2 hour and 40-minute movie was probably about as long as it really could sustain. I think 3 hours was too long.
3 hours is a bit indulgent for some people. I do agree with that. And it just depends, like, how big of a fan you are of the first hour and 2 hours and 40 minutes. I think maybe you wanted to see the other version. But again, it's Milos Forman too. Yeah. He wants all his movies to be long. So I think, and it was like released 20 years later, right? It probably was a way to just, again, get some extra money off this movie that was originally made. And Ridley Scott says, well, I can do that. He started doing it with all his movies. Mm-hmm. So, I think the best thing about the best scenes in the movie are the music scenes. That's kind of how I feel about it. Somebody else talk. Why am I still in the center here?
Because you selected the movie.
Okay.
The only sad thing is Tom Hulce should have won an Oscar. The only reason he didn't was he was up against F. Murray Abraham.
Right.
I mean, man, what a Sophie's choice there, because they both turned in wonderful performances.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that movie changed how you define a supporting character.
Who was that? Which one?
That was Mozart.
Mozart. Yeah. He was, yes, his laugh was on point. I think it made the sympathetic villain thing better, since I usually hate that. but definitely his laugh was right there.
Yes.
I mean, the other thing too is I think people, and it's in no way the fault of the filmmakers, because they were very upfront from the very beginning. This is a fantasy. Yeah. This is a fantasy based very loosely on the life of Mozart and a rival of his, and also sort of around the mythology that has sprung up over Mozart's cause of death. But unfortunately, people are shallow. And I guarantee you a lot of people who saw this film think that that's the way things happened, which is unfortunate, but it's not the filmmaker's fault. Sure. Because this movie was 80% fiction. Yes, Mozart, great composer. Salieri, a competitor and sometimes collaborator. They were rivals, but they weren't really musical rivals. They were mainly political rivals, because there was limited patronage available. So Mozart, this young hotshot coming in, is taking money out of potentially Salieri's pocket. So he's going to fight back, not by trying to destroy him, but by trying to, if I can get the king's ear and tell him not to put on that opera, I'm going to tell him not to put on that opera. Nothing more than that. But there was a lot of fabrication, which is fine. It made for a better story.
I was going to say something.
Really?
I know. Twyla Tharp was the choreographer.
I know. That's amazing.
Isn't that
probably
crazy?
The most famous choreography since Fosse? Yeah, she's amazing.
I think the other big thing that really pushed this movie forward was the fact that we were finally starting to address like child prodigies and child actors. Obviously, the first person that comes to mind, like the Mozart of their generation, is Michael Jackson. And that was when he was finally starting to pop up. And if you look at how Mozart turns out in this movie, and you look at what happened with Michael, there's just something that you just see there that makes you go, wow, this is a problem that's existed for 300 years.
Or longer,
Yeah.
Well, Shirley, I mean, that's why there are the Shirley Temple laws in California.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, they were specifically because of parents sort of living off of and exploiting their kids.
Mm-hmm. The sad thing is that the actors in this movie didn't get a lot of really great roles after this. I mean, Tom Hulce was the Hunchback of Notre Dame in the Disney movie.
Right.
F. Murray Abraham was in the worst Star Trek Next Generation
Jeff
movie.
Johnson was Principal Rooney in Ferris Bueller a couple years later. Come on.
There it is.
And Christina Ebersol is on Bob Hart's Abishola.
And Saturday Night Live.
And Cindy
Yeah.
Nixon.
And Cynthia Nixon from Sex and the City.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
my gosh,
I don't talk about that show.
She was about 17 years old, man, in that movie, and just looked all of 14. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
The performances were amazing. I mean, it was, and the makeup on F. Murray Abraham, the old Salieri, was just incredible.
Yeah.
Every time I hear F. Murray Abraham, I think of the game F. Marry Kill.
Okay.
I think
That's
of the
on you,
game
Dan.
F. Marry Kill.
That's definitely on you, Dan.
What do you think the candle budget was on this film? I mean, the sheer volume of candles was filmed in.
The one thing
They
they
went to a candle store that had a blowout sale.
All the music's public domain, though.
So,
sorry.
When I was watching this, I kept thinking, especially during the dance scenes, since you brought up Twyla Tharp as the choreographer, I'm watching this going, I would never have guessed this was 1984, that this was released. It looks newer. I didn't think, it's kind of timeless because of the period costumes, you kind of can't be, although it has happened, that it would follow more of the current costuming. That has happened definitely, but this looked to me very authentic. The wigs might have been a little much, but I don't know because I didn't live then. But I thought it was pretty fantastic.
You could ask Wade.
Yeah.
What were the wigs like when you were little?
Yeah.
The costuming was great. The dancing was great. The acting was really good. It was just very long, and we didn't watch the director's cut because I didn't want to get into that. Who knew what was going to show up?
Where did you stream it then? Where did
So
you
tell
watch it?
about the problems we had.
It was DVD.
Okay, you watched the DVD. Okay.
And we had problems with it. We put it in, and it would only play the music. I'm like, what is going on?
So I get another copy.
Oh, that was the Salieri cut. He puts that and only hears the Mozart music.
Well, actually, it's
you could
it's
choose
the
that
language.
to do that on
It's
there.
one of the languages.
And then you had to go in and choose a language.
You had to choose
And then
English.
Then it gave you the words. It was like,
I mean,
Was
it didn't
Turkish
even
an
give-
option?
It didn't give you horses plopping down the street. It didn't give
Yeah,
anything. It
just
was
all
just music and silence. And we're like, something's wrong with this DVD.
That would be a way to watch
note
it.
on it. It was going to have to get taken out of the system. And then the second DVD, and I went, oh my gosh, it's us.
Well, clearly you were
Use
supposed
your
to have
error.
the scripts from your director's cut of the movie package ready with you so you could read all the lines with a partner because you love
Yeah,
the movie
there
that
you go.
much.
Well, I was trying for
That's
subtitles. I thought, well, we can listen to the music and read subtitles. We've done it. Nothing.
But then you don't get the laugh.
We would have missed out.
Should we go around and each person do their best Mozart
I
line?
can't do it. The pollen has got my voice too scratchy right now. I can't do it.
No, I played baseball too much, so that's why my voice is that high.
I was waiting for the Falco song to come on.
yeah.
Right. Me too. What?
Rock Me Amadeus.
It had nothing to do with
was
the
that
movie.
movie?
No, it's just inspired by it, but it had
Okay.
nothing to do with it. It just
Okay,
came
I
out
feel
in
better now because I
1985.
thought that was kind of weird.
I
was
prefer
a
the
remake.
Simpsons version of that song.
No.
Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas.
Oh my
Dr.
god.
Zayas, Dr. Zayas.
What I like is at the beginning of that song, they have that whole like the presenting the facts. It's almost like on November 5th, 1975, Felix
Yeah.
Unger was asked to leave his residence.
Yeah.
So in 1756, Salzburg, January 27th, Wolfgang Amadeus is born. Then he goes through the whole thing. 1985, Austrian rock singer Falco records "Rock Me Amadeus." Amadeus.
Is this where we
was
talk
our-
about?
Fantastic song.
Is this where we
This
talk
was our
about
third Vincent Schiavelli movie. Who played his
Ooh.
valet, who was also in Johnny Dangerously and in Night Shift.
That's funny.
Oh yeah.
You see him on screen, you immediately go, "Where do I know him from?" He's one of those kind
Yeah.
of character actors.
He's got that face.
Yep, and that hair.
He's that guy.
Who was it?
The guy
Vincent
who's flipping the
Schiavelli. He was
thing.
early in the film when the two guys are knocking at the door.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Salieri's- Yeah.
Yeah, he was the
Oh, it's delicious. We're gonna eat it all.
yeah. Was
That's
he a
such a
science
good-
teacher at Fast Times at Ridgemont High too?
Yes.
Such a good character moment too, because
Yeah.
him just taking that donut at the beginning of the movie, you're just like, oh, he's a sneaker. Like
Yeah, that was
he's-
so sneaky.
We'll eat it all.
Yeah. And then he doesn't
But
even
to
want
Adam,
anymore.
to Adam's comment he just posted, both of those things are fiction, Adam. You know, Salieri did not end up being a nutcase, and Mozart was not buried in a mass grave.
No, it's
Yeah,
in a commoner's grave.
there were some things, yeah, that they got so wrong.
From
Well,
what
they
I
get them wrong. They
read,
deliberately changed them to try to make for a better movie.
No. The funniest thing they got wrong in the movie, and maybe Stacey already knows this, is that Salieri takes a oath of celibacy in exchange for God's gift of music. And if that was real life, then he didn't do a very good job because he got married and had kids.
8 kids.
oh, I didn't know that.
He had
8 kids.
So he did the opposite.
I didn't even
Exactly.
know.
And
Perfect.
Mozart had 6 kids, not 1.
Yeah.
No, he had 2. 4 of them died.
He had 6 kids, 4 of them died.
But they
Well, I
were
mean,
not
if you count his
born
music as his
live.
kids, he's probably had.
No, they
how
were.
many-
He
They
ended up
died in
with 2.
infancy.
I thought that they were born dead.
They were not stillborn. They died in infancy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Salieri, because he was accused in real life of, because of the rumor, not accused, it did drive him crazy a little bit, or a lot. I'm not sure, but I did read that it did bother him a lot that people were spreading the rumor that he killed Mozart.
Well, Adam, what do you expect from an opera? A happy ending?
Yeah.
I just
They
expect
left
to see Adam. I expect to see Adam breaking through a wall in a giant black hat. You know, this movie.
I was so glad that was explained.
Cavity.
Adam Giovanni.
Well,
So
we
the
should
thing-
score this because we've got a lot coming up still.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Hey, rate the reel. Boo, 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 boo. Okay. Yeah, this is one of my favorite movies. It set the bar for period dramas, probably how they were supposed to look for the next 20 years until you had Pride and Prejudice and the John Adams series on HBO.
Right.
Like the very professional, modern TV, golden TV.
Really,
look.
yeah. I sort of think of this and the Merchant Ivory films as sort of the epitomes of the period
Yeah.
pieces.
I can totally see that. It's an amazing story. And that it's literally the story that makes people want to ignore the historical inaccuracies. Like there's so much this movie gets wrong that if you thought this was fact, you would be dubbed insane and get an F on your book report.
Right.
Get F. Murray Abraham.
Exactly. But that's kind of the point. It's incredibly well written. It's enchanting. It's terrifying. It's beautiful to look at, beautiful to listen to. It's a perfect movie, and it's even more loved by the audience and the critics who gave it too many Oscars. And I will leave with the funniest thing about it at the Oscars, actually. I think it was John Williams won for E.T. or something of the like for some 84 film, and he said, "I'm very lucky that Mozart is dead." Whoever won the music Oscar that year. So yeah, I've loved this movie. It's easily a 99.
99.
Yeah.
Luftballons, also
And I'll
another
also say
German
that
song like
this
Rock
movie
Goes.
did not quite as much, but this movie did almost as much for public interest in Mozart as The Sting did for Scott Joplin. Where
Yeah.
suddenly a composer who was known and who people had heard of maybe, but very few people really had paid attention to, suddenly was in the popular culture again. And suddenly you heard it all over the place. And it wasn't like The Entertainer where everybody and his brother who was taking piano lessons was learning how to play it. But still, it was really very influential for a while. And as they already talked about, you know, Rock Me Amadeus and all of the stuff that came from that. It is a really well done movie. There's not much to fault here. I do wish, because it's been too many years, I would like to watch the non-director's cut, because I think those 20 minutes push it a little over the top for me as to just too long. It doesn't take off much for me, but I think I'd probably give the non-director's cut another point or two, just because I really do think it was a little too long. But
Too many
still,
notes.
awesome movie. I mean, it really is quality from beginning to end. Yeah, it's a downer of a story, but I'm not rating how much I liked, how good the story made me feel. I'm rating the quality of the movie, and this is a quality movie through and through, as evidenced by 7 or 8 Oscars, one for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor. It was just
Best
dominant at
Venus.
the Oscars, and so it's a 95 for me.
Ooh.
95. Let's go to Wade and Stacy. Stacy and Wade.
So yeah, I remember having the videotape of this that I taped off of something, because I know when it first came out, I did watch it quite a few times, and I've kind of forgotten about it and I haven't watched it in a long time. I'm glad we figured out how to turn the English on. So
sing us your comments, Wade.
Yeah, I can't do it, opera. Sorry.
No, the laugh.
No, I can't do
that. Not bad.
Oh, I'm learning so many new things.
It was so good when he was at that masquerade party and Salieri heard that laugh, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, I know who's here now."
That was amazing.
Yeah. I like the way they did the narrative. Was like a confession. The poor priest, man, at the end, he's thinking this is going to cost you a lot of money. I'm sure to get forgiven for all this. But yeah, it was. I did enjoy it then, and I enjoyed watching it again, even though it's pretty long. I remember it being long then too, and so I'll give it a 95 also.
Ooh.
All right.
Stacy looks shocked.
Okay. I've known this man 32 years yesterday. And
Happy anniversary.
Known. The anniversary's
met
next
other.
week. We met each other 32 years ago
On
yesterday.
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo.
And so
You're
La Cuatro de Cinco.
Got married in 1 week?
no, we got married 2 years and a week
She
later.
wouldn't go for that.
Okay.
He wanted
I would've,
to. We got
yeah.
engaged after 3 months.
It happened one night.
Yeah.
Anywho, yeah.
Michael
So
Bear.
anyway, I'm learning new things about him every single day. Today,
There you
that's
go.
3 things.
What?
What? I
What?
don't remember. It was something earlier on the porch. I don't remember what we were talking about then, but I went,
Living in Memphis for.
oh, yeah, where you lived. Okay.
The point.
The point. I was trying to get there, but people were interrupting me. They were. Anyway, so
I'm sorry, Stacy.
yeah, right. Anyway, I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. Anyway,
You've known this man 32 years.
anyway,
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
the movie,
Mozart.
that guy,
Which movie? I was like, good.
it's gone. Anyway, what I was saying earlier about how it just didn't seem like a 1984 movie. That right there, okay, yes. It was very long. We had to flip the DVD over.
Oh, it's a two-sided DVD.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, that
You
was
didn't get a laser disc?
no laser disc. No.
remember the VHSs that would come in the 2 or 3 packs for the really long movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, this probably would have had 2 or 3.
Yeah, I had it on a long, extended play
Yeah.
on a DVD or
VHS.
VHS. Can't remember what those were
Oh
called.
my god. Anyway, so I wasn't sure what I was going to give this because I really expected. I didn't know that it won all those Oscars. 1984. I was 15 years old. Didn't watch the Oscars. It wasn't a thing at my house, so I had no idea. I just knew "Rock Me Amadeus" from the year later, and I assumed it went with.
Ooh.
So I had never seen it until yesterday, day before yesterday, and I was surprised how good it actually was. I love Mozart because who doesn't?
Right.
And so that helps.
So
And-
Skrillex.
True. And just I was really kind of shocked and amazed at how well done it was. So because I didn't expect it. I just thought, oh, this is gonna be terrible. So I expected that. And I was very tired afterwards because it was late when we finished
I
watching.
know.
But
You were
I'm
there?
I'm gonna give it.
Stacy's trying to give it a score that takes as long as the movie.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to.
I've known her longer. I can get away with it.
It's the first review with an intermission.
Well, people
Flip
have quit
the interview
talking.
over.
Y'all
That's
done? Y'all done?
I don't think they're done yet.
I don't think so either.
That made me forget what I was thinking.
Oh,
Brian, you better be ready to go.
I'm gonna give it a 75.
75.
You.
I'm kidding. No, I'm gonna give it a 92.
No, sorry, we have to take the
92.
first score.
Brian, you
Hi.
already know your score.
Yes, 84 is my score.
Nice and to the point. Oh, go ahead.
All right, next.
I liked it. I did. I know that it was like going in. I knew that it wasn't like historically accurate. The one thing that we didn't talk about that I wanted to mention though, they would have been playing instruments. They wouldn't have been waving their hands around as conductors.
Oh,
Yeah. That's a thing.
interesting.
Probably like first chair violin or something. I don't know. Anyway, and I don't like the sympathetic villain kind of thing, so that's why I gave it an 84 and not like 90 something. But it was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right.
Is there a movie you like that doesn't have a sympathetic villain?
I didn't find him sympathetic at all, really.
Me neither. He's a dick.
Yeah, well, okay then, but he's like the main character, you know, like he's like the one. You get what I mean?
Oh, you're seeing it from his point of view?
Yeah. Like it's
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so-
It's a movie told from the villain's point of view.
There have been James Bond
like
movies where
Halloween.
the villain was far more interesting than Bond.
What about Dr. Evil? You don't like Dr. Evil?
Brian, you just don't get
I just
Scott.
don't get it.
Scott, shh, zip it,
I gave
Scott.
it 84. Good, by the way.
You gave it an 84.
it.
Yeah.
Everyone else giving that.
I'm going to go quick because we're running out of time. Great movie, great cast, great cinematography, 94.
Hey.
Hey, I wasn't here for the first movie, so I'm allowed to talk a little longer.
That was super fast.
You know what she is.
We're running out of
I
tape.
continue.
I'm defending myself.
Okay,
Defending
I'm
myself.
trying to get more viewing hours on my YouTube channel anyway.
Here's
That's why I put
now
it-
Stacy will do the sequel.
No, now Stacey's going to do Mad Max.
It was long.
You know, we
Well, first off-
Oh, there we go.
Adam's got a funny story though. Laurence Olivier put Al Pacino at the Oscars the year Amadeus won. Just walked on stage, didn't list the nominees, just opened the envelope and announced Amadeus as the winner.
Wow.
It's what you can get away with.
Way
if
to
you're
go,
Laurence Olivier.
Larry.
But he has an award named after him, so he can do that.
He was like Dan. He was concerned. We're running out of time. We got to keep going. We got to keep moving.
He's like, and the winner is.
You already know.
Cool.
I mean, obviously, I think everybody said pretty much what I was going to say. I do think the movie suffers from a little bit of length, where I was checking it a couple times to be like, how much do we have left of this?
Uh-huh.
But otherwise, I mean, it really is. It takes a subject matter that could be really hard to watch and makes it really entertaining. And yes, in a fictional way. But I ended up at a 90. So there, take my 90.
And I will also
Fair.
say that even though I understand why F. Murray Abraham, or as Dan likes to put it, F. Mary Kill, would won the Oscar because it's a really dramatic performance.
Mhm.
In its way, Hulse's performance is better because he's a far more complex character. He, at the same time, is this incredibly overconfident brat, and yet he is so craving acceptance and recognition. And you just see that constantly play out in the way he plays it. And I really was impressed by that.
I loved how he
He
played
did.
his relationship with his father. I was shocked that it wasn't more cloying or something. That they had a good relationship. The dad was the dad, but he was still going to be who he was, even though
Well,
the dad was like, "I don't like this."
Except him constantly lying to his dad, trying to pretend he was more successful than he was.
Well, yeah, because kids do. But he loved his dad, and he wanted his dad to accept him.
He craved his dad's approval. Yeah.
Exactly. So that was good. And to go back to the length of this movie, when Wade flipped the DVD over and went, "What? We have more? That's only halfway."
I think I've had enough.
I thought it was a very abrupt ending, but okay.
So, and at the Don Giovanni scene on the DVD.
What's that?
What?
Where did it end on the Act 1? Was it like the Don Giovanni, his dad dying scene?
I don't remember.
No, I remember it just started where he was writing some music, sitting at the pool table.
Oh,
he's bouncing the cue ball or the ball off the
Yeah, it
bumpers.
wasn't there.
It wasn't there.
This is unprecedented.
Yeah.
No, it's not unprecedented, but it's rare.
But
Adam, you went for the movie I didn't think you were going to go for. This is amazing.
You know how happy Scott is.
unprecedented because it's the highest score he's given to someone else's choice, I think.
No, he gave 100 to one of mine.
He gave 100 to Private Parts.
Oh, okay, that's true.
I didn't give Private Parts.
He gave 95 to Dan's choice of Superman 2.
Okay.
That is
See,
also
I was just
Superman
assuming.
also.
I was wrong. Wow.
Oh my
But
God.
a very respectable showing for Amadeus, coming in just below Shawshank Redemption with a
Whoa!
93. Look at that.
Nice.
Wow, front page.
Front page, first
Gosh
column.
darn it, Brian.
Look at that.
It's beautiful.
Adam says classical music is a guilty pleasure.
How
Wow.
many
Who
Salieri
knew?
CDs
I'm
do you own,
guilty
Adam?
about that.
Do you have a lot of Salieri
Yep.
CDs?
No guilt there.
Wow.
Doesn't need to be a guilty pleasure. Nothing wrong with classical music.
It's wonderful. It's the basis of what we have sometimes.
Western
around.
music. Yeah.
Yeah.
There'd be no Taylor Swift if not for.
The horror.
And hence, you'd have a very odd empty spot in the middle of Cats.
Marry me, Wolfie. Write some music about me.
All right. I think it's time to find out what Dan's movie is going to be. Dan, are you ready?
You know what? I think I'm ready.
I like the Somewhere in Time movie posters, Eric. Nice touch.
Yeah. Yeah, all somewhere in time.
Yeah.
It's the only thing playing at Dan's Theater.
Yep.
All right. What if I told you
Rosenberg.
I did not pick a time travel movie?
We wouldn't believe you.
What if I told you I was going to pick Unfrosted?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
we knew that.
we talked a lot about it online already. I'm like, I talked enough about it. We can still talk about it and what else you're watching. Then I decided I'm going to go down the list of Richard Malzahn, my friend who did visual effects, or Bruce McBroom, my photographer friend, and see if I can find one of their movies because maybe I could get some insight from
The
them.
Last Starfighter.
Titanic.
Maybe. No.
We already watched the Mummy, didn't we? And that was the first version of the Mummy. Yeah.
And I was going to do City Slickers, but it's really not anywhere available. It's like $14.99 to rent it. It's not streaming for free. It looks like it's on Hulu, but then you click on it, it says not available. And Bruce was the photographer for that. Did the movie poster and City Slickers too. Then I went over to Richard's side and I started looking at some different ones. There's a movie that I remember seeing. I did not see the original. Part of me wants to do the original. Dave, you might be able to sway me. It's a political movie.
Okay.
There was a remake with Denzel Washington. Was it Denzel Washington? Oh my God, did I get that wrong?
The Preacher's Wife.
So it's not Muppets from Space then.
Are you really mixing up your black actors, Dan?
I hope not. Oh no, it's Denzel.
Did you not rewind it?
No.
Remember the Titans.
No. Anybody else want to guess? Sinatra was in the original, if that helps Dave.
Manchurian
Candidate?
The Manchurian Candidate.
Wade knew.
I think it's on.
But should we do the original or the remake?
The original.
The original's better.
I prefer the original, but I'm not sure how available it is.
It's on Tubi for free.
Okay. I mean, it's a tense movie.
It is. There's a lot going on in that movie.
We watched that.
And I'm not
And
usually
I'm-
Sinatra is not a great actor. I mean,
No, not
we already
at all.
watched we already watched Guys and Dolls, and he was a bit of a he fit the role well enough, but he was a bit of a weak link acting wise. But he's pretty solid Manchurian Candidate.
All right, let's go with the original, and bonus points for the remake.
I don't remember it.
1962.
Look at that.
Black and white.
Black and
I
white
get bonus
film
points before we start.
because it's black and white.
No, because I've seen the remake before.
Adam wants the remake.
What's your call, Dan?
I know. If I had a double feature, I would say we have to watch them both.
Yeah, that's fun.
But I think I'm going to go with the original.
All right.
I think the source material is the better way to go. It's based on a book from the 50s.
There's just a thing about Denzel Washington doing remakes of 40s movies or 60s movies that doesn't go very well. AKA, for all you guys who voted The Bishop's Wife so low, you're lucky you didn't see the 90s version.
Right, exactly.
So this is Manchurian Candidate on Tubi. Big
Although
fan
Denzel
of Tubi.
was not the biggest problem with the remake.
Adam, of course, is a Denzel fan.
Well,
I'm a Denzel fan from when he was on St. Elsewhere.
that was
What
one
was
of the
that one?
funniest bits from Game Night. Was the whole Denzel thing.
I was a
What was
Denzel
that?
fan when he supported Will Smith during the Oscars.
What was that one where
there's-
he was like there was a demon, and they always sang the song like "Time's on My Side." Denzel
Oh.
was in it.
Yes, that was. I know exactly
I can't
what movie
remember.
that was.
That was good though.
Looking up another Denzel movie.
Got
He
the
was in the news
DVD.
recently because
Fallen.
Yeah.
what's his name? No,
What's-
why am I forgetting?
What's
his
up,
name?
Stacy?
The DVD starts the second side when Salieri's coming dressed in the black to his apartment.
All right, so it's right after Don Giovanni.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best scene in the movie. By the way, I know we're done talking about Amadeus, but
Never.
who's who of opera people too.
Really?
If I were to pick a Denzel movie, I'd pick Training Day.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I like that one.
I've never seen that one.
But I went Manchurian Candidate. Live with
Dave,
it.
Dave,
Suck
you
it.
might get your chance because it is time to spin the wheel. Oh my goodness.
Ethan Hawke was recently interviewed because they were talking about when he didn't win his Oscar for Training Day. And apparently Denzel leaned over to him and said, "You're better off not winning. That you need to earn your you need to earn your way first. You need to
That
be
is a
the
good
Academy should be anxious. You know, like they want you more than you want them."
Adam, I've never seen that movie. I got to see that movie.
Glory.
All
If
right,
you
I'm
don't,
giving this a shuffle. I'll make sure I got this right. I'm pretty sure I have the names right.
if you don't like Matthew Broderick, it's a great movie.
Rude.
Yeah, he does kind of get.
Ferris
Spoilers.
Bueller's War Off.
Maybe I have seen it or parts of it.
We went.
All right.
Ferris Bueller's Shoes Off.
You didn't go to
We're
see
going to
it?
spin the wheel to find out who gets to pick
Oh, yeah.
the movie for the week after next. And that honor goes to.
In the wheel.
Brian wins.
good.
He's picking Joker because it's a sympathetic villain.
No, if I win, I'm picking
I'll
Starship
be-
Troopers.
Going to be
Adam.
is going to be Adam. Look at that, Adam.
Mhm.
You've got a week to can figure out what movie you want to put up. Will it be Glory? Who knows?
Will it be glorious?
We
Will be the edge of glory.
Only
Edge
time
of
will
Love.
tell. And
It's
time
a
is on his
beautiful
side.
Lady Gaga song.
Gaga?
It's a beautiful Lady
I'm on the
Gaga
edge
song.
of glory.
All
That's how
right.
it goes.
Oh, you're right.
I'm trying to think if I do like any other sympathetic villain movies.
How
Nice.
about
It's
Despicable
not a
Me?
sympathetic villain.
How about Despicable Me?
Despicable Me. There you go.
Oh,
I haven't watched that actually.
Do you
My
like
bad.
the Grinch?
Whoa.
That's a
No, I don't
sympathetic
like
villain.
the Grinch. I really don't.
Wow.
Brian doesn't like people getting redeemed.
There's
Getting
no
what?
redemption.
Yeah, he
Redemption.
does. He does get redeemed. He brings the presents back.
The Grinch gets
That's
redeemed.
not.
Brian doesn't like taking soda bottles back to the recycling place and redeeming them. Is that against redemption?
I like redemption.
You can keep your.
I don't like when
You
like
don't
the
like
villain
Shawshank.
wins. I haven't watched Shawshank. I haven't watched that one.
See?
I know.
Despicable Me. You haven't watched the
How about-
Shawshank Redemption.
I know. Isn't it like it's a prison in Maine, right? Isn't it supposed to be
No, it's Ohio.
Ohio? Oh,
Oh, they
Yeah.
filmed it in Ohio.
What?
I don't know where the actual.
It's a
one's
Stephen
supposed to
King
be.
movie.
New York.
You'd think it'd be in Maine, but no.
It's a
something
pretty good
about
movie,
Maine.
Brian. I don't know why you haven't watched it. I've watched
It's a
it.
Stephen
Uh,
King prison movie,
25
not called
times.
The Green Mile.
It's on TBS like every third hour.
Green Mile.
Also, Dave, who puts Despicable Me and Shawshank Redemption in the same pool?
Dave.
Well, that
That's
could be
a
what
double
else you're
feature right
watching.
there, man.
It's time.
Uh-huh.
Oh my.
Brian, you don't like Frankenstein
Oh.
or Frankenstein?
Or how about Young Frankenstein?
Frankenstein.
I mean, he is a Spider-Man.
Or a blue
fan.
care.
I am a spider. What's wrong with that?
There's no redeeming villains in that except the Sandman.
Igor. All right, let's talk about what
Walk
else we're
this
watching.
way.
All right.
We gotta get some of that.
Scott, be careful. You're going to break out a hip.
The most amazing thing about that clip, Eric, is you would have that exact same reaction today.
Oh, I would absolutely.
We got to get this.
It makes me miss being young, that's for sure. Seeing these.
Oh, God, tell me about it.
I miss those
I'll
days.
start because I started the conversation online about Unfrosted. Did anybody else watch the Jerry Seinfeld Pop-Tart movie?
Not yet.
Yes, it was great.
The
Trailer looks
previews,
pretty good.
the previews make me want to run screaming from the room rather than watch it because the previews are awful.
Well, the previews are very much in line with what the movie is like. So if
See,
you
I
don't
didn't think
like
it was
the
awful.
preview-
I went in knowing it was going to be cheesy and not. It's a long joke. It's a long sketch, and I really liked it. I thought Jim Gaffigan playing the Mr. Kellogg. You forget I've never seen him in anything where I just forgot it was him. He was one of those guys where he's always kind of played himself as a comedian.
No, because
And Seinfeld, like I said,
he's
is
had several
always
recent
Seinfeld.
dramatic roles. He played a heavy in a recent movie.
I didn't see it apparently, or I didn't recognize it was him at all.
That could be.
Sarah Cooper.
I thought it was very entertaining. I mean, it's not a good movie, but it is incredibly entertaining.
I mean, I
Yes.
remember which person on it. One of the people on it. They were on. I think it was Gaffigan actually. He was on a recent talk show, and they showed this clip where the guy's like in a hazmat suit at the toaster,
Yes.
and the scene
Yeah.
goes on for about 2 minutes for maybe one little.
But then, no, you have. I mean, there's a huge thing that happens with that too, because it's like Apollo 1. I mean, they really. I mean, they make so many jokes in it that are so well hidden. It's almost airplane-ish, where you have to watch it a second time to catch all the
And they
jokes.
must be trying to sabotage it because the previews are awful.
I would say that it's a modern day airplane style humor movie, and maybe
Yeah.
that doesn't work as well as it did back, in
Well,
1978.
the difference, though, is Airplane was deliberately spoofing a genre. It was spoofing Airport and the whole disaster.
Well, this is
movie
spoofing.
genre.
This is spoofing like historical. Like,
Yeah, this is
because the history
whole-
of the Pop Tart is not really true, and he didn't even get permission from Kellogg's to do this.
right.
Netflix like, you got permission for this, right? And he goes, "Oh, okay." And luckily, Kellogg's approved. It is wild though that Kellogg's and Post literally are from Battle Creek, Michigan.
Yes.
Like, that is crazy that they're both the two largest cereal companies are both.
Because they were rivals. That's why.
Yeah, but the headquarters of McDonald's and the headquarters of Burger King aren't in the same town. Neither Nike and Converse or any other big competitor.
Well,
Typically not in the same
That's
town.
not how it works all the time, but That's,
Well,
I
sometimes
can't
your
imagine.
biggest rival is founded by someone who used to work for the original company. So you
Yeah.
then
Okay,
will
that's
sometimes
possible.
get that kind of thing.
Oh, the Bainbridge Ballet of Kellogg. Got it. Okay. That makes sense. That was a
I
different-
did, however,
Marguerite
watch.
Post.
Marjorie
Who-
I
Post.
did,
who,
however,
uh,
watch Saturday Night Live, and reinforced my opinion that the only thing Dua Lipa lacks more than acting skills is any charisma whatsoever. It was one of the most boring episodes of Saturday Night Live I have ever seen of any season.
But how funny was Jerry Seinfeld, as man who has been doing too much promo for his movie?
He was okay.
I thought that was funny.
It was funny. It wasn't great, but it was funny. Yeah.
I also
It was
started
very
watching the Tom Brady roast on Netflix.
I haven't
which is
watched it
almost
yet.
3 hours long. It is
Yeah.
so freaking funny.
Well, those roasts are always
They
good.
they just said, well, here's what's crazy. So I've been to 2 of the roasts, and they're vulgar and horrible, and they are about 2 or 3 hours long. Then they edit it down to a 1 hour special. This was live.
Yes.
So it was everything. You heard
Yes.
every swear word. Stacey, you would hate it. I mean, to the point where Tom Brady went up to Jeff Ross and says, "You say that shit again, or stop saying that shit." Like he literally told him to stop. One of the jokes, because he was making fun of Robert Kraft and his massage parlor issue.
Well, this
But
comes to
they
show
made-
how much people love Tom Brady.
Well, it opened with Bill Belichick saying, "This is your big night. This is your big night." But then he goes, "Oh, you know what? Sorry, I've got to replace you." And he's talking to Drew Bledsoe. He goes, "Tom, it's your night instead." And then Drew Bledsoe came out and was hysterical, talking about the career that he ended up not having because, number 199 in the draft took his place.
Yep. Well, I can enjoy those roasts are so fun. I can even enjoy watching them roast someone I really dislike, which is the case with Tom Brady. I can't stand the guy, but I still think it'll probably be very funny.
Yeah.
I do not like Amy Schumer. Okay, we can stop talking about Unfrosted.
Oh, and Unfrosted? Yeah, I'm not
Me
a
and
fan.
that.
Yeah.
She plays
Amy
Marjorie
Schumer, you got
Post.
Melissa McCarthy,
Oh, she
you've
plays
got
Pope?
Jim Gaffigan, Jerry Seinfeld,
Fred
there's a-
Armisen.
Yep. There's everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah, if you're a big fan of Mad Men, there's a little Mad Men surprise piece in it. Now, so in my comments, a lot of people said they love the cameos, loved all the cameos, and somebody tried to correct them. I won't call them out by name, but they've been on the show before, and it's not Menza. He said, cameos mean a celebrity comes on as themselves. I'm like, that's not a cameo. A cameo is just a small part by a famous person, but they don't have to be playing themselves.
No,
Right.
yeah, definitely not.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Alfred Hitchcock wasn't playing himself when he made his brief cameos in his movies.
Exactly.
There you go. Neither was M.
It was
Night
just a background
Shyamalama Ding Dong.
Stanley.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Stan Lee. That's fun.
The guy was in The Hobbit too. I forget what his name is right now. I'm blanking. I blank a lot.
Okay.
I
Which-
blink a lot.
Mel Blanc.
No, the guy who did The Hobbit, he was in The Hobbit, one of the scenes.
Oh.
He was dead.
Peter Jackson?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the authar. Sorry.
No,
No.
Brian,
Hey.
Peter
The guy who did The
Dinklage, just
Hobbit,
because
he
he's
means the
short
author.
doesn't mean he was in The Hobbit. How dare you?
Wow.
Peter
Yeah, there you
Dinklage
go.
was great in this as the Milkman. How about, Christian Slater
Oh yeah.
was great in this. I mean, there were just little tiny parts that were, it was,
It's
what
like-
about,
What do you mean, little tiny
Hugh Grant.
parts, Dan? Stop making fun of Peter Dinklage.
I was gonna say I think
Yeah,
I
it's
think
really
he was in it, 'cause
sorry.
that's what I thought he was.
how about Hugh Grant was great too.
Oh, good.
But when he was saying
He
Jim
was great as
Gaffigan, I'm
Oompa
like,
Loompa as well.
We did go see Fall Guy,
Oh, how was that?
and it is surprisingly good. I mean, it's not a classic, but it really is a very entertaining movie.
Was it based on the Lee Majors?
It is very loosely
Yeah.
based on the TV show. I mean,
Okay.
it's the same character. It's Colt Seavers or whatever his name is.
Okay.
But obviously the setup is different and what he goes through is different. But it's very loosely based on the Lee
Okay.
Majors TV show.
I wondered.
There were probably
Yeah.
some royalties paid.
Yeah.
So in
Ryan
Unfrosted-
Gosling is just incredible. He is a funny guy. He really is surprisingly funny.
how funny was he as Beavis?
Oh, that was incredible. And
When
he
they did
showed up.
Beavis and Butthead.
He showed up at the premiere of The Fall Guy. He came out in his suit first, and then when what's her name was doing her interviews, he went back and changed, and he and Mikey Day came out as Beavis and Butthead.
Oh my gosh, live action Beavis and Butthead. My parents.
Live action Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, yeah.
Adam says it bombed at the box office.
It's funny. It's a good movie. Yeah, the theater.
At a 93%.
We went to see it the Sunday after it came out. 2 days after it came out, the theater wasn't crowded at all. But I
saw, in addition to all these great movies, I saw the best movie ever made.
Oh yeah,
Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate.
What?
I want you guys to guess the percentage this movie has, and then take away 10%.
Is it animated?
Yeah.
Is it still Brad Pitt and Will Ferrell?
No.
Oh,
it's the original.
Adam, I would say bombed. Did $28.5 million. They expected to 30 to 35, so it didn't do what they thought. But
so it underperformed.
It came in number one at the box office at $28.5 million.
It underperformed, but it didn't bomb. Okay.
The Phantom Menace came out number 2. They did a surprise, like a release. That surprised everybody. It did $8.1 million.
People's disposable income is not there right now. That's why it didn't do as well as they expected.
No, I think it's streaming.
Not quite the summer movie season yet. It's a little early.
Yeah,
that's true.
Everybody's going. I mean, I love going to the movies versus watching it, but
it's amazing how we've tracked everybody into subscriptions. Like people are like, I can either pay $6 a month or $10 a month to watch as many movies as I want on TV, or I can pay $25 a month to have a subscription with Regal Theaters. And now everyone's wondering why Hollywood isn't making a lot of money right now.
Yep.
Right.
Hey, it's the system you made, guys. What do you think was going to happen?
But it really, it hit sports first when you started having the people having their 65-inch TVs at home with ultra high definition.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Stacy. Oh, it was glorious.
It looks like it. 9%.
You know what I really loved? I loved how they took everything that was great about the last movie, just did not put it in this movie.
Oh.
Which, unlike Despicable Me, which every movie doubles down on everything.
Oh my god!
More minions, more minions.
Don't make me give Despicable Me a compliment.
Did we watch that new one? We had that on. I wasn't paying attention to it too much.
The first Despicable Me is a fun movie.
Yes.
Oh, it's the best movie that they've ever made, which is a darn shame because then they made a bunch of movies after that and they weren't good.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it was weird that and Megamind came out within like a month of each other with such overlapping plots.
They knew what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
The worst Illumination movie is easily Hop.
Hop.
Oh,
I remember
Hop. On Hop.
Oh, Eric, it's so bad. I'm sorry, bro. You have a Mexican chick trying. When I say chick, I mean the bird.
Yeah.
Right.
We're good. It's
from
okay.
Mexico.
Hey, you got a Mexican chick, and you got an American chick, and you got...
it's totally not an allegory. It's totally not an allegory that the chicks are working their butts off, and the rabbit who owns the factory is like, no, my son who can't do anything is going to be the Easter Bunny because you guys don't deserve it because you're the chicks. You're the immigrant chicks in this really terrible racist allegory. Yeah, screw you, Illumination.
Yeah.
And I'm usually independent, but what the heck was that? My God.
But it's
I'm sorry.
cute.
All right.
Watch it again, Eric.
All right.
It's been a long time.
All right.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's okay.
What are you
I
doing?
know.
It's also fun to see that George Miller, who directed the Mad Max movies, also did Happy Feet.
And Babe.
Yeah, Babe Big in the City.
Babe, I'm leaving.
Two of Reagan's favorite movies from when she was a toddler.
Can you imagine the three mice and the guitar guy's flamethrower guitar? I was born in the middle of a radio tank.
Oh my God.
And instead of the war boy, she'd have all these penguins chasing Furiosa.
The drums with
that
their
movie.
feet.
Make that movie.
Make the George Miller that could have.
It's the George Miller anthology. Just combine all his movies into one. It would at least be coherent. If you took Guillermo del Toro's movies and combined them all into one, you would have a on-screen nightmare.
All right. Well, you asked for it.
That's right, Adam.
Uh-oh.
You asked for it. Hold on.
Here it is.
Oh no.
It already exists.
Oh no.
Oh no.
In this wasteland, I am the one who runs from both the living and the dead. A man reduced to a single instinct. Survive.
Oh my god.
It is by my hand! You arise!
He even has the hair!
Of this world!
Oh my god.
We are not things. We are not things.
Where is she taking them?
Oh my god.
Wow.
I want them back! They're my property!
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day! Want to get through this? Go!
I would totally watch this right now.
Me too.
As the world fell, each of us in our own way was broken. It was hard.
What the heck?
Me or everyone else.
Someone put way too much work into this.
Yeah.
Someone had like a day and they said, screw it.
Taking time like it's Amadeus. How much time's left in this thing? Mad Feet. Fury Road.
Okay, now look up the guitar guy playing Boogie Wonderland.
That was pretty great.
That was amazing.
That was pretty awesome.
I would totally watch that as a movie. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a great way to end this week's show.
I'm so happy that exists.
On a high note. On a happy note.
Yeah.
The happy feet.
Mad Feet.
That was wonderful. Oh.
So next
we're
week our
happy
movie
Peter
is...
what Adam's going to pick for next week.
Next week is the 1960s version of the Manchurian Candidate.
That is correct.
Available on Tubi and other places, but Tubi, becoming a fan.
Tubi dooby doo.
Tubi's available.
There's a Frank Sinatra movie.
That's Scooby Dooby Doo.
Scooby Dooby.
All right. Well, have a great week.
Mm-hmm.
Watch more movies. Good night.
Good night.
Goodbye.